Hi, and welcome to AE-Help's IELTS test preparation videos. This lesson and materials are taken from www.aehelp.com. For lots more help, visit us there and join our full course. Okay, so this is the second part to our listening lesson 2, and we will be looking at sections 3 and 4 of the review test from the curriculum book on the website. And then we will be applying two very important skills, critical listening and visualization. So again, remember, visualization means to see information in the mind's eye. So it's not really imagination, because you're not creating information so much as you're trying to translate or interpret the information that you see on the paper into pictures in your mind. So this is called visualization. So see information in your mind. All right, and then the second skill that we're going to be looking at is very importantly critical listening. And another way that we can think about critical listening, we've talked about this before, is basically active listening. So actively paying attention to what you hear and doing that by checking what you're listening to. So setting up the very important questions of what, why, and how when you're looking at the questions in the exam paper. And then based on your predictions of those answers, trying to figure out how the dialogue or how the conversations, lectures will go. So critical listening, also we can say active listening. And for visualization, we'll use section 3 of the review test to practice that. And then for critical listening, we'll use section 4 this time. So this is kind of in contrast to the first lesson where we practice these skills with sections 1 and 2. So now we're using these for the more difficult sections 3 and 4. Just so you can see how these skills, just like paraphrasing and note-taking from the previous lesson, apply to all sections of listening. And you should practice all of these skills for each section at home when you're doing the exam. Okay, so let's look at visualization in more detail, and let's practice that a little bit with section 3. So again, listening section 3, we're practicing visualization here. And just a quick review of some of the important points to pay attention to when you're practicing visualization. So of course, in the IELTS exam, you have about 20 seconds to review the questions of each section before the audio starts. And it's during this time that you want to use the questions and answers that are on the paper, or answer choices that are on the paper, and then using that information, close your eyes if you need to, maybe you don't, but see that information in your mind and try to fill in the gaps. So try to complete that information visually. Again, remember, we humans are truly visual beings, so that means that we use our eyes as our primary sense, and it's a very powerful computing system for us. So you need to take advantage of this when you're processing information, especially like the IELTS exam. So close your eyes if you have to. If you don't, keep them open. Use the questions and information in the preview time to visualize. So again, visualization is a skill that you need to practice at home, but definitely also do it during the exam, not just in the listening, other sections as well, as we've discussed, but here we're focusing specifically on this piece right now. So make sure you see lots of detail. This means try to see the little specifics of the information. So don't just see general information, but try to see as much detail. And this takes practice. You will be able to get into a lot of specifics as long as you keep practicing, and you will be able to see much more clear pictures in your mind. So see as much detail as possible. Focus on those. Focus on types of clothing, colors of clothing, for example, type of vehicle, type of building, what the windows look like, what the doors look like. So try to see details as you listen. It's very important. And then, of course, make sure that your pictures are connected. So make sure that there's some kind of structure to your visualization. It's not good if your pictures are just very jumpy and random and moving from one scene to another scene. You should have some kind of a connection, maybe a chronological time connection, a location, moving from foreground to background, left to right, up to down, but you should have some structure. So structure your visualization. Okay, and then of course when you're all done, make sure to check the information and see how accurately you saw what the information was. And if you saw something different than the given information or the correct information, then you should of course check again why. Why did you see something different? What did you misunderstand? What word was misunderstood that led to that incorrect picture? So again, a very powerful tool. Make sure to practice this. Let's have a look at the questions of section 3, and then close your eyes, try to visualize what section 3 is about, and create that clear picture, and then let's discuss that. So that's our next step. Okay, so now that you had a chance to look at the questions for section 3 and close your eyes and visualize, the next step when you're doing this exercise is to ask yourself what you actually saw in your mind. So don't worry about listening to the audio yet or answering questions or anything like that. Simply just take a blank piece of paper and in point form, write down some of the things that you saw in your mind when you read these questions. So when I read these questions from 21 to 30, of course, one immediate point that became very clear is that this is a group project. So when I closed my eyes, what I saw were some students that were sitting around a kitchen table. So students sitting around a kitchen table, and I saw some men and women, because we get that information from the question. So I saw a long-haired girl, I saw a short-haired girl, I saw a short-haired guy, I saw the clothes that they were wearing, they were facing each other, they were sitting at a round table in a family kitchen, and they were discussing their group project. Now on the table, I even saw a poster board, so something like this with 3 sides to it. And again, we get that from the questions that they're talking about a project which includes a poster board that they're going to be working on. So when I closed my eyes, I saw that they had this poster board, some pens, different colors on the table, and they were discussing what to do about their project. And of course, when we look at the final questions 27 to 30, we see some interesting names, some historical figures that these students are talking about, including Robespierre, Rousseau, Louis XVI, and Napoleon Bonaparte. So hopefully you visualize these figures. So these figures are coming from the French Revolution, and hopefully this clicked and you recognize that these are some names associated with that historical event. And then hopefully you saw their faces, the kind of interesting hair of the times that they had, and maybe some more of the history if you're familiar with it, of how they were dressed and what their uniforms looked like. They had a sword, etc., etc. So hopefully you pictured all of these and then kind of put it all together, so it should be all just one scene. For me, like I say, it was in the kitchen, and these people were kind of somewhere on this poster board. So when I closed my eyes, that's what I saw, and now I feel much more confident to listen to this information and then answer these questions, because I have an idea of what the conversation might be about, and I feel it will be a little bit easier for me to catch the correct answers as I listen. So again, remember, very important exercise here. Now that we looked at these questions, we can do the listening, and then we can answer the questions. Before we do that, just really quickly, another good way that you can practice this is also visualizing from the audio. So you can visualize by using the questions, and that's what you will do during the exam. However, when you're practicing at home, another way to use visualization is simply listen to audio, close your eyes, and while you're listening, visualize what's happening as well. So don't worry about answering questions, or don't worry about the paper, but just visualize from the audio. So that's another very good way to improve your scores. So right now we're going to look at section 3. We're going to listen to the audio. If you would like, just simply visualize. Don't worry about answering the questions. However, if you feel confident and you already did the visualization from the question sheet, then go ahead, listen, and answer while you're listening. Okay, let's do that now.
Now turn to section 3. Take some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Listening section 3. You will hear 3 students organising a class project. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
I just got an email from the professor saying the due date for our European History group project has been pushed back to Monday.
Great! That means we'll have the weekend to work on it.
I suppose that's good news, but I don't really want to do any homework on my weekend. I had planned to go away with my girlfriend for some relaxation this weekend.
I suppose that's understandable. Maybe we should just have it done by Friday, the original due date. That gives us today and Thursday to finish it.
We can do that, I think. I'm available tomorrow. How about we spend today planning it, assign tasks to take home with us and do tonight, and then meet tomorrow and put it all together? Does that sound right?
That works for me.
That doesn't work too well for me. My afternoon is very busy. I guess I'll just have to burn the midnight oil tonight.
What has you so tied up, Evan?
I have a basketball game after school today, and then my favourite football team plays this evening at 7. It's okay though. I'll get the work done. Let's get started on the planning.
Alright, so we have to come up with a 3-panel poster about a topic in European history. I already bought the material for the poster, so we don't have to worry about that.
How much was it?
It was £3.
OK, we'll each give you £1 for the poster board.
No, don't worry about it. My dad paid for it anyway.
Sounds good to me.
Right then, since there's 3 of us, my idea was that 2 of us could take care of the writing part of the project, while 1 of us could look after the artwork, making the poster look smart.
I'll do the artwork. I think I'm a pretty good artist.
I'll be happy to do half the writing. What topics are we going to choose?
Well, the professor said the topic has to be an event that took place somewhere between 1400 and 1800, so we can't do either of the world wars.
That's too bad. My dad is an expert on the Second World War, and he could have helped me with my part. What are we going to do instead?
You now have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 27 to 30.
I was reading my textbook the other day and I read some really interesting information on the French Revolution.
That's a really good idea.
I know. How about instead of doing a summary of the French Revolution, we write about some of the people involved instead?
Oh, I like that idea. So who are some of the important people?
Well, there's the King, Louis XVI.
Robespierre was important, I think.
Yes, he was. And of course, Napoleon Bonaparte.
We should have 4 people, so you can each write about 2 people.
How about Marie Antoinette?
OK, so we have 4 historical figures. Each of you are going to write about 2. Now we have to decide how much we're going to write. Remember, we have to fill up a 3-board poster.
That's a good point about the 3-board poster. Maybe we should do a 5th person, then we can have 2 figures on each side with 1 in the middle.
Good idea. We can make the middle one really important. We'll make that one Napoleon. As for a 5th person, how about Voltaire?
Good. So how about I do the important one on Napoleon and a smaller one on Robespierre?
OK, and I'll do the other 3.
How long should each topic be?
I'd say 200 words each for the small ones and 450 for the big one on Napoleon.
I think that sounds about right. What do you think about meeting up later on?
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
To see the rest of this lesson and for lots more help with the academic IELTS exam to give you the best chance to get a high score, please visit us at www.aehelp.com and join our full course.